That's what mushrooms do in fantasy settings. Everybody knows that. If you see a giant mushroom, it's clearly going to shoot spores into your face and something's going to happen to you. Generally something bad. Let's do it anyway. Good morning, everyone. Dave from the Wee Hours back with more 30 games in 30 days today with just one line. A sort of choose-your-own-adventure-y, largely text-based, slightly role-playing, good healthy dose of comedy sort of game, which just left early access and is now in full release as of yesterday, as you're seeing this video, if I'm timing this correctly. Yesterday it came out in full release, so it is available for everyone in its full version. I did receive a key from the developers for this, so thank you to those folks for that. I appreciate that. And I've given it a bit of a test drive, and we'll talk more about what I found as we go along. So I've put a little bit of time into this and done some of the intro stuff. So let's get started with just one line. I'll show off what I'm doing and what I did when you weren't here. So this is me here, a basic human commoner. That's what you're going to roll out the door with. And as we go through the game, as we complete quests and solve puzzles and fight fights and meet people, we're going to unlock more and more races and backgrounds and all sorts of cool stuff. There are factions we can meet and all sorts of neat things. So all we get at the start is human, but we can unlock elf and dwarf and orc down at the bottom grayed out here, and different backgrounds. Again, right now I'm just a basic commoner. I'm a mere peon, a simple peasant rolling out the door to do my adventuring, but we could unlock things like cleric and hunter, wizards, and all sorts of traditional fantasy things. And my stats on the left here are blissfully simple: power, which is pretty self-explanatory. There's your fighting strength right there, and wit and cunning. I took a point. You have 1 point to spend when we fire up the game, so I took a point into wit, because if my experience with choose-your-own-adventure things are anything to go by, you often want to be talking your way out of problems rather than fighting your way out of problems. Now again, I have given this a test drive. I ran through one of the initial quests before I recorded this, so you'll see down at the bottom here, in my morality and honor are a little negative at the moment. My honor is -5, my morality is -9. There was an issue in the quest. Look, here's the deal. If you're hanging around the tavern in this game, you're gonna hear phrases like desecration of a body, or unlawful disinterment of a corpse, or crimes against nature. I'm just going to say some things may have happened in a graveyard in which I had to dig up a stranger's corpse and feed it to a ghoul so I could learn the location of another stranger's corpse. It's a fantasy world. Things happen. However, that was a teensy little hit to my morality, apparently. Apparently the town wasn't super keen on me digging up a bunch of bodies to feed them to an undead horror. But I got the quest completed. And actually, I got the quest completed without any combat. So it all worked out for me. Maybe I'm slightly... people are looking sideways at me in town with a -9 morality. Also, I unlocked the cleric background. Now, I'm not going to switch to that yet. I want to see what else is coming down the pike. But I did unlock the cleric background, so we could switch to cleric at this point instead of commoner. But I don't think we're going to do that yet. Let's get into a quest, and we'll learn a little more about just one line. And the first thing I want to do is head to the armory, because it's just not a good fantasy game unless you've got a good merchant, and I appreciate a good merchant. I got a little bit of gold from that last quest, and we're going to need a weapon of some sort. Now, depending on our background, we're a little bit limited in terms of what kind of weapons we can have. So a commoner can have a pitchfork, obviously, because commoner, pitchfork kind of goes together. How about something... Now, the pitchfork will give me a bonus to damage and a bonus to hit points, and it's effective against beasts, which is nice. That's good. But what else have we got kicking around here? A club. What bonuses does that give me? Bonus to damage. Okay. Sickle. Bonus to damage again, and effective against light armored foes. Okay. Dagger, effective against beasts, and club effective against heavy armored foes. And I'm pretty sure that's about it. Yeah, that's about all I'm going to get as a commoner. Oh, we can get an arquebus in here. We can get a gun. Neat. Never saw that before. Let's take... See, the pitchfork is super expensive. How about, well, let's start with some armor, first of all. Padded armor, robe, settler suit. All kind of broadly terrible, but let's see what we can do. That'll give me a bonus to hit points and a bonus to cunning. That's not bad. Padded armor, bonus to hit points, and bonus to power. And I'm not that powerful. Let's take the padded armor. Let's get that. Okay, good. We've got that equipped. That leaves us 105 gold. What could we buy with 105 gold? Well, we could sell off everything to get a pitchfork. I think we should go with something a little bit cheaper here. How about the sickle against light armored foes? Yeah, let's get that. Let's buy a sickle. That sounds very peasant-y. And can we afford any magic items? I'm going to guess no. Ruby of Power. Oh, these things are great. +1 power. Garnet of Superiority. +1 to all stats, all attributes, +1. What's the really good stuff down here? What's a Quartz of Greater Health? +4 hit points. Greater damage, increases damage by 2. Oh, what's for 900? The Garnet of Greater Superiority, +2 to all attributes. Nice. Well, we can't afford any of this, but you know what we can afford? Some booze. So yes, Red Giant's Ale, that is going to give me, what, +1 power. Wise Elf's Wine, +1 wit. I'm going to guess the Golden Room of the Pirate is going to give me, yep, +1 cunning. Conqueror's Whiskey, you say, +1 to all attributes. Can't quite afford it, but what's Beer of the Titan? +2 power. Oh, and all of these drinks will last for one quest. So if I hit buy, I'm going to drink this right now. And that will last for exactly one quest, and then we'd have to, well, top off at the tavern, as it were. Let's go with a flat +1 power. Let's take that. Our wit is already pretty good, so why don't we get a little boost in power? Yeah, I'm going to take +1 power. I am now intoxicated with Red Giant's Ale, and I'm ready to go adventuring. All right, what do we got on the quest board? We can't do... Yeah, these ones down at the bottom here are not unlocked yet. So let's go to Fistfight in the Tavern. Rascals and delinquents have been amassing into my tavern for several days, participating in clandestine brawls. How clandestine can it be if it's right in the middle of your tavern? Organized by a notable stonecutter dwarf, I need someone who can teach him a lesson. Your favorite host, P.S. Elven tequila shots for only 3 coins on Wednesdays. That is really good, by the way. Traditionally, Elven tequila is about 5 coins, so that's a pretty good bargain. That being said, Elven tequila is garbage. Nobody wants Elven tequila. You want to go orc if you're going tequila. What do we got? Missing child. Okay, to all adventures, a child is missing from a small village in the hills. The Tricked Witch Fellowship is ready. Now, see, there's a faction we could get in with. The Tricked Witch Fellowship is ready to give a reward in gold to whomever finds the child and gives information about his mysterious vanishing. And it's a plus 150 gold. So we could meet up with one of the factions, the Tricked Witch Fellowship, and we could get some money out of that. That sounds pretty good. What's this one? Trouble with bandits. A group of bandits is pestering our village with impossible demands. We've never been threatened by bandits before. We do not have soldiers to protect us. Please help us get rid of them. Good reward on the gold side of things, but I'd rather meet the Tricked Witch. Yeah, Tricked Witch Fellowship. Let's go do something cool for them and see what we can do about a missing child. Yeah, I will take that. And we are going to head right out the door, charging out the door, drunk with Orcan Ale, and we just spin through town here. It's neat. It's neat. I do love the graphics on this. They're simple but well done. Here we go. And there's me. I've got my padded armor on and my sickle. I am ready to go. You arrive at the village, one of many scattered in the kingdom. For decades, nothing dangerous has happened. The people live in peace because of the Treaty of the Four Races. In the square, there's some people busy working. Ask the men what they know about the missing child. Go into the tavern. Talk about the kid to the villagers. Oh, go for a walk in the village and its outskirts. Okay, any of those would be feasible. I could see that. Let's ask the men what they know. And up here, we have just been told that we have diverged in our path. So there were obviously alternate routes to this being sort of basically a choose-your-own-adventure style. So it was pretty self-explanatory, but we've taken a path and there was another path. They know little about the disappearance. The only useful information you learn is where the child lives. Okay, well that is actually pretty useful, so let's go to the house of the kid's parents. Yes, please. His parents are covered in tears. Wow, covered in tears. They searched for him everywhere near the village. Try to alleviate their suffering. Ask them to stop crying and tell you what happened. Complaining is a waste of time. Or ask how he disappeared. Well, let's ask how he disappeared. Last time he was seen was in the woods. He was seen playing with his friend Lucas, who lives near here. Asking Lucas might be useful. I agree. Let's go find Lucas. Go find Lucas. The parents let you enter. You ask the boy what you want to know. He says they were playing hide-and-seek near the fields. It was almost sunset, and when Lucas called Timmy to go back home, but he did not answer. Ask them to go with you into the fields and show you exactly where they are, or go check the fields. Well, let's not be stumbling around the fields here. Why don't you come and show me exactly where they are? He reluctantly agrees to follow you, and we've taken a path. Go to the fields. You arrive at the fields. The wheat is tall and some birds are perched on some scarecrows. A short distance away, men are working. All right, we can ask Lucas what happened before Timmy vanished, approach the men and ask them some questions, or inspect the field looking for some traces of little Timmy. Ooh, that sounds grim. Let's ask Lucas what happened. The kid looks very scared and stares at something in the field, then suddenly runs away without a word. I think we should go look at the thing he's staring at. So approach the men, inspect the field, or go back to the square. We're done here. Yep, my work is done here. My work is done, people. There is no little Timmy. Little Timmy was a figment of your imagination. No, let's inspect the field, looking for some traces of little Timmy. I don't like the word traces. It implies Timmy's in bits. You cannot find anything useful, just crushed grain and some messy footprints in the mud. Well, all right, let's go through all our options here. Let's approach the men. They tell you the kids play with the scarecrows often, or they play hide-and-seek in the wheat, but they did not notice anything weird that night. All right, well, we've already inspected the field. Just because I have the option, I'm just going to try again. No, we don't find anything useful. Now we're going back to the town square. Okay, we've gone back to the square. We could go into the tavern and talk about the kid to the villagers, or go for a walk. Well, let's go to the tavern. That's a likely source of information. It is a very little place. Two men are talking on the counter. In a corner, there is a man drinking alone. Let's start with the innkeeper. That's basically where you're going to start when you roll into town. The innkeeper is happy to see a new face in spite of recent events. He offers you a beer. Oh, good. Do I have to pay for this? Because I only have like 65 gold. 55 gold, actually. Ask him about the disappearance. Yes. Ask if the family has some enemies. Ask about the village. Let's ask him about the disappearance. Really a tragic event, sighs the innkeeper. Unfortunately, no one knows much. The kids always play near the fields, and it's the first time something like this has happened. Ask if the family has some enemies. Sure, absolutely. No enemies. In a small village like this, we help each other. No one could do something this cruel. All right, well, let's ask about the village then. It is a small village, just some houses, a storage, fields all round, and some woods. In the past, those woods were dangerous, but thanks to the hounds, they are another faction, I believe, they are safe now. He says to you that you can talk directly with one of those heroes, pointing to, I assume, the old drunkard. All right, well, let's go talk to the drunk hound. Old man drinks the last sip from the bottle. He says he deserves it after the victory in the woods from a long time past. All right, well, tell me about the woods. What is this victory? It's a long story, and he is thirsty. Okay, I ignore the drunk old man, buy a drink for the man, buy the best wine in the tavern, or obligate him to talk. Well, let's just buy him a basic drink. We're not getting the best wine in the house. Yeah, that cost me 5 gold, buddy. I'm definitely not buying the best wine for you. Lord knows what that costs. It's probably Elven. He starts telling you that many years ago, some strange creatures invaded the woods and began pillaging villages, killing and stealing. Therefore, he went with some hounds to start hunting them. They finally found the lair and launched their final attack. By the way, if you're looking for the child, this is the place he would have searched. The evil always returns. All right, we can go into the woods or go outside to stretch our legs. Well, sure, maybe something will happen if we go outside. Go back to the square. All right, go in the tavern. We've done that. Go for a walk or go into the woods. Let's go into the woods. Let's see what this guy is talking about here. You reach the woods, you hear the birds singing, and notice swift movement in the bushes. A path goes straight in front of you. You also notice some tracks heading into the trees. Path, tracks. Tracks, path. I would think the tracks. Do I know what kind of tracks they are? Are they animal tracks? Are they human tracks? Let's follow the tracks. You lost track and watched directionless in the woods for hours. Finally, you see a cave, but when you get close, 2 gnolls ambush you. Uh-oh. This has not ended well. Oh dear, and we're in combat. Yes, this is the combat screen. The skulls indicate the combat difficulty from 1 to 3. This is 3. That's not good. Red bar indicates your enemy's hit points. Every time you attack, you and your enemy will deal damage to each other simultaneously. Be careful. Once per quest, you can use your special attack during a fight. This can be used without receiving any damage from your enemy as a free action. Okay, so we got 1 special attack. We could just run away, but it will always have consequences in some sort of way. Alright, probably not going to gain any honor doing that, and I've already taken a bit of an honor hit, what with the, disinterment of the corpse and the crimes against nature thing that I did. Always keep an eye on your health bar. I will be sure to do that, sir. Yes, I will be sure to do that. Well, we may as well fire off our special attack. And that is what exactly? A hard push. Well, we've got it. We can only use it once per combat, so we may as well fire it off. Go ahead and hard push this guy. That did nothing. Okay, that absolutely did nothing. So, not such a great roll on that. The gnolls are barely scratched. You ought to do better than this. Oh, let's see what happens if we attack. Okay, we didn't do no damage to them. They're battered. Alright, I'm going to attack again. Okay, pretty good. Unfortunately, they and I are pretty much in exactly the same position at this point. I think this is a suicide run, but let's try attacking again. Oh dear, not so much. Well, that's unfortunate because I didn't get to bank the cleric background before I died, so that'll be lost to me, unfortunately. Now, who were we? I think we were Dave Knoll Food. Not Knoll Good, Knoll Food. Yes, we're Knoll Food now. I think that's how my characters are going to go. We'll just kind of give them a last name based on the way they died. We're Knoll Food. Yes, let's please go back to the menu. Let's do this. Let's do this again. Let's have another shot at this. Well, unfortunately, because I died there, I didn't get to take advantage of unlocking the cleric background. I should have done that. I should have just banked that guy. I should have retired him. That would have locked those in place so I could use them later. But let's get another guy going here. What do we got here for hairstyles? Oh yeah, there we go. That's fantasy all day. That's fancy. Let's get a big healthy beard going on, and yeah, let's be a little ginger there. Sure, why not? Works for me. All right. Now, what am I going to put my extra points into? Wit didn't seem to work out that well, but I really want to use magic down the road. I want more wit used in interactions that require memory, logic, or magic, or maybe cunning. Interactions which require to be persuasive, diplomatic, or stealthy. I feel I should just go for power. Let's take a different tack. Let's try cunning. Let's really focus on talking our way out of things. Yeah, I'm gonna try cunning. Yeah, let's go for that. And let's get ourselves kitted out again. We'll take the padded armor because, more hit points. Why not? And what are we gonna... How about a club this time? Heavily armored foes. I don't know what level of armor those gnolls had, but let's try against heavily armored foes. Sure. So we'll take that for 20. That leaves us 20 gold. Do we want to have a beer on our way out the door? If we took Wise Elf's Wine, that'll give us +1 wit. Or, because I tend to play a middle ground with any sort of stats. I like to be sort of an all-rounder, rather than going heavily in one or the other. Or the Golden Room of the Pirate, +1 cunning. Well, you know what? I do tend to try to be an all-rounder and go for a middle ground. Let's just go full-on cunning. We've already got our bonus cunning. Let's take another bonus cunning and see what we can do with that. Now, what quests do we have now? Have these... Oh, yeah, these have sort of recycled. Enchanted Waters, Jean Beau, Druid of the Circle of the Woodland Keepers. Oh, there's another faction we could be getting down with. Invoke the help of an adventurer to recover information regarding the recent barbaric and inconsiderate poisonings of the waters of the earth. Well, information, if I've got cunning, I might be able to talk my way through something there. And what's this one? Laments in the Cemetery. Now, that is actually the one I did in my test drive. So, I've done that. I'm going to choose not to do that one. Oh, yeah, P.S. Apart from the whole crimes against nature thing, I may have accidentally sold my soul to a mysterious book that no one else could see but me. So I may be part demon at this point. But the visitors have been terrorized by spine-chilling lamentations in the last few days, even during the day. That's the one I did in my test drive. So I'm going... Oh, and Missing Child is back. Missing Child is back. I kind of want to do that, because I want to see what what's the result? Where's the kid? I'm genuinely interested now. But we just gone full-on cunning and not so much with power, and we know those gnolls are there. Let's do the Enchanted Waters. Let's do Jean Beau, Druid of the Circle of the Woodland Keepers. Yeah, let's take this one. After hours of walking through several trails in the forest, you stopped to recover in a glade. That druid didn't give you a very detailed description of the meeting spot. You're thinking of which area of the forest you should search next when a tall figure, cloaked in a cape of leaves, approaches gracefully. You must be the adventurer I asked for. I am Jean Beau, Druid of the Circle of the Woodland Keepers. Follow me. There is much to be done, and you are already late. We can ask him how he managed to find us, or tell him the cause of your tardiness was his lack of clarity regarding the meeting spot. I might want to tell him that, but let's just get down to business and follow the elf. On your way, Jean Beau tells you the origin of the problem. Some time ago, 2 foolish creatures came here to prepare a love potion. They were successful, but clumsily and irresponsibly spilled it into the river that spans the whole reign. Such carelessness created an imbalance in the natural order of things. Now, every insect, plant, or creature in its vicinity grows and proliferates an exaggerated rhythm. So... all nature is in love with all nature, is what you're telling me here. This is causing problems in some areas where the river flows. The elf pauses before going on. The swamp, as you may know, is an example of these areas. Clearly, everyone is pointing at us keepers as the ones responsible for this disaster, and while not even remotely involved, we are called upon to solve the matter. Meanwhile, you sense the sound of flowing water. You've arrived near the river. There, take a look with your own eyes at the results of such stupidity. The river flows beneath you. From here you can see its banks infested with a myriad of aquatic plants, masses of putrefying fishes and frogs, and clouds of insects buzzing over them. Imbalance and its consequences, says Jean Beau in a sorrowful tone. What you need to do is simple. Find the witch that prepared the potion and ask her which components she used to prepare it. Now this does sound like a good quest for my high cunning. I should be able to talk about this to the witch. This way it will be much easier for us to prepare a restoration potion. Now go! Let us not waste any more precious time. Well, it would be great if you told me where the witch was. That's going to be a great start, rather than just leaving me by a swamp. So, we can ask where the witch is, ask why he can't go himself, and ask if... yeah, let's ask if the witch is dangerous. That seems like a promising opening here. Of course not, as all witches her magical knowledge is limited by a few cheap tricks and the preparation of some potions and ointments. I don't believe you, sir. I've played a lot of fantasy games, and if somebody tells me something isn't dangerous, that means it probably is. I would like to introduce you to someone named Ian Livingston at some point. I am sure you have encountered far greater dangers. Well, not really. I mean, I did, but I died. I did encounter far greater dangers. There were these 2 gnolls, and now I'm a different corporeal form. Alright, well, let's ask where we can find the witch. The elf gives you the necessary directions, and you set off. The witch's home is about half a day's walk from the forest, so you don't waste any time, and go visit this woman. That damned elf must find it amusing to give such generic directions. You still haven't found any of the landmarks he mentioned. Luckily, you see a group of men in the distance. You could ask them for directions. You approach them and notice the Shield Brothers insignia on their coats. Another faction. Boy, we're getting a lot of factions in this quest. Surely they'll be able to help you. I doubt it. You greet the 3 men and ask for info, but they seem somewhat odd and confused. We're going to see the king, says one of them, indicating in front of him. But even though you don't quite know where you are, you're pretty sure that the capital isn't that way, only mountains. Let's, okay, are they under some sort of witch's spell? This is what I'm feeling here. They seem confused and they don't know where they are. Let's correct them. Let's see what happens. You tell the man he's going the wrong way, but he seems sure of what he's saying. You're wrong. The king is that way, I tell you, he says, continuing to gaze in the direction his finger is pointing. You don't like the void look of these warriors. Yeah, I'm seeing witch's spell here. It's best to let them proceed. You'll find the witch on your own. Many hours go by, but you eventually find the small hut that Jean Beau was talking about. You knock on the door, and a middle-aged woman invites you in. Oh, this This better go well. Well, at least it's not gnolls. You explain the whole story to the woman, particularly the part where the druids need to know the reagents used to create the elixir. Ah ha 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 ha! Begins laughing the witch. So those despicable elves want my help. They can forget it. Where are they every time a farmer or shepherd is in trouble? They never deign to help us poor folk that live near the forest. Let them solve their problems on their own. The woman is quite furious. Promise her that if she helps you, you'll convince the druids to be more helpful regarding the dwellers of the area. Okay, that sounds promising. Plead with her to help, deceive her, or threaten her. I don't like the sound of threaten her, because the Shield brothers, who are known warriors, left here all magicked up. So it's probably not going to end well for me. I don't really want to deceive her, per se. I could plead with her. I want to promise her that the elves will help her, but I don't think she's going to believe me. She clearly has no love for these druids. So I'm going to... this is a tough one. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start with I'll go convince the elves that to help more and see how that goes. Why should I trust you? I don't even know who you are. That's a very fair point, actually. I'm just a complete stranger with a club who showed up at her door in the middle of nowhere. That's perfectly valid, ma'am. I appreciate that. Yet I should reveal how to prepare my potions based on some vague promise. The woman laughs for a little and gazes upon you amused. All right, well, let's try pleading with her. Please, 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 please. You can weep all you want, it won't work with me. You have no idea how many poor souls come to me asking for potions without a coin in their pocket. Woman slowly shakes her head. You'll have to persuade her some other way. Okay, I really don't want to threaten her. I don't think that's going to end well. Let's try deceiving her? I don't think this is going to end well either. You tell the witch that the forest and the whole reign are at risk without her help. Well, that's not really deceiving her. That's true if we're going to take the word of the druids. The woman bursts into laughter. Oh, please, it wouldn't be a love potion to bring destruction to the reign. Your strategy didn't work out. I'm not going to threaten her. I'm going to return to Jinbo. This just isn't working out with this woman. So I'm just going to politely leave. The witch won't be reasoned with. You've no other choice but return to Jinbo. I'm not going to threaten her. I've already taken a huge hit to my morality and honor. You know, what with the corpse defilement thing. You try to find the best words to explain your total failure to the elf, but what comes out is still quite embarrassing. Predictable, coldly says Jinbo as he gazes upon you. Worry not, there is but another way to uncover the reagents of the elixir. Oh, good. Yay. I found a few areas of the forest particularly affected by this messed-up concoction. You will go to these areas and take a sample from the plants most affected by the elixir. You will not find it difficult to identify these plants, and be wary not to damage anything else in the forest. Remember, this is a sacred place. The elf describes the plants to look for and where to find them, after which he wishes you luck and leaves. All right, we can go get some mushrooms, we can get some nettles, or we can go and recover a sample of a carnivorous plant. You know what? Let's open with the combat, because I see that's how that's going to go. You follow the river shore until you reach a large bite. I don't know what a bite is. Do you mean blight? I don't know. At about a meter from the shore, you see some enormous carnivorous plants popping out of the water. They could gobble you from the waist up. Every now and then, again, you see their jaws snap when a big insect hovers too close. You're pretty sure they'd gladly eat you as well. Better be careful. You ponder over what to do and locate the more isolated plants. There's one completely alone, but very large and menacing. The alternative would be a group of smaller plants. I think the group of smaller plants might be the smarter way to go with this, but I don't know. You come close to the carnivorous plants. They're not as large as some of the more isolated specimens, but in return they look a lot more lively. You take one step after another trying to get close enough to rip off a leaf without taking any risks. However, once you're almost there, a multitude of thorny tendrils emerge instantaneously from the waters and begin to lash out at the air towards your direction. We can try and get the sample, dodging the strikes, or make your way through the tendrils with your weapon and take the sample. Neither of those options sounds particularly fun. Let's try and dodge the strikes. Oh dear. Okay, well, we took a little hit. We took a little bit of a hit, but we're not dead. So that's good. That's good. You won't be Dave plant food right now. You try to cover the few meters that separate you from your objective, avoiding the lashes from the plants, but the tendrils move too quickly and their thorns scratch you all over. You're a step away from the leaf, so you move forward just a little more in order to rip it off, but in return the plants slash off some pieces of fabric and flesh from you. No, not my padded armor! I spent 60 gold on that. Aching from the scratches, you secure the specimen. It's not exactly the same size requested by the elf, but it'll have to do. Yeah, no kidding. It's gonna do. This is silly. Why can't this gentleman do this himself? It was actually an option. We could have asked him that, but I chose not to. Let's go... Oh, nettles. Those are going to be spiky and ouchy as well. You advance along the river until you reach a large rock. From here, you divert towards the left until you reach an area with sparse trees surrounded by a thick underwood. An extremely dense underwood, to be honest, clearly overdeveloped. Exactly the place described by Jinbo. You locate the bigger plants around the middle, the ones the elf recommended you harvest. We make our way through the underwood towards the taller plants, or gather a sample from the smaller specimens near you. Well, it didn't work out with the carnivorous plants, but I can't help but think that if we try and go through all these nettles, we're going to take some more damage. Let's try a sample from the smaller specimens. You think about it and decide the best solution is to take a sample from one of the plants close to you. Of course, they're not as big as the ones in the underwood, but they're still bigger than any ordinary nettle. The elf is too fussy. The sample will do just fine. Yes, I agree. Let's go and get a mushroom. You follow the river until you reach the humid cavern described by Jinbo. You make your way in, sinking your feet into a few centimeters of water coated by some sort of nauseating, opaque ooze. Alas, you find the mushroom described by the druid. They're a mauvish color, almost as tall as you. Some release a slight shower of spores which form that coating as they set on the water. Oh, yummy. Yummy, yummy. Well, I'm sure if we do the spore coating on the water's surface, we're probably going to get a similar result of, it's not what the guy wanted, but it'll have to do. Let's see, if we go and approach the mushrooms, we're probably going to get a spore in our face. That's what mushrooms do in fantasy settings. Everybody knows that. If you see a giant mushroom, it's clearly going to shoot spores into your face and something's going to happen to you. Generally something bad. Let's do it anyway. Approach the mushrooms and gather a sample. You get close to one of the mushrooms and begin cutting off a piece. During the process, due to an abrupt movement, the mushroom releases a cloud of spores right onto your face. What did I say? What did I say? Look, just one line, fighting fantasy, choose your own adventure. I've been playing fantasy games for a long time. If you have a giant mushroom, you are getting spores in the face every single time. Also, avoid all mirrors. All mirrors are terrible. You instinctively pull yourself back, coughing and waving your hand to remove the dust, but immediately notice something's not right. You quickly get back to work, but your eyesight becomes blurry and you sometimes get double vision. You also begin to hear a screech and get cold sweats. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Let's go. Go back and gather a sample of the coating on the water. You don't like the situation and prefer to leave it before it gets any worse. I agree. Staggering, you reach the exit, but first you collect a sample of ooze from the surface of the water. Let's return to Jinbo. Once again, you search for a glade in which to wait for the druid. A while later, the elf appears. I suppose it is a great achievement that you do not die while recovering the samples. Do you have them with you, says Jinbo, going straight to business. Let's hand over the samples to the elf. We will not ask him for a bonus. I'd kind of like to get away from this guy. We've almost died several times. This is not what I had asked for, angrily exclaims the elf. I should send you back to gather the right samples, but we have already wasted enough time. It would have been better to take care of it myself. I agree. You can forget about your reward. Now leave, concludes the elf. Disgusted, he quickly withdraws. You try to stop him in order to explain, but he vanishes from your sight in a whirl of leaves. All you can do is return back to the tavern. But we're not dead, so we've got that going for us, and we're not transformed into a giant mushroom. I'm calling this a win. Let's go back to the tavern. Well, we kind of failed. The druids will have to work a little harder than expected to prepare for the restoration potion. In return, you understand why everyone is so biased against the elves when it comes to business. Yeah, I'm disinclined to like the elves either. So that's taken some hits, unfortunately. We've lost some fame. We're down 5 points of fame. We didn't lose any more morality, though. So, the whole graveyard incident and whatnot, and we've lost some more honor. We're not very good at adventuring yet, and we've lost a ton of rep with the woodland keepers, the druids. They really don't like us right now, but you know what? We're still alive. So we've got that working out in our favor, and I consider that a win right now. Well, we're back. We're made it. We didn't get any gold, didn't get any reputation, but we're alive. And we're alive to quest another day, and that's good enough for me. I know I was doing this as 30 games in 30 days, but you know what? I think I'm going to do a little bit more of Just One Line. I think we'll do a few more episodes of Just One Line, because this is fun, and it's got a healthy dose of humor that I appreciate. I like a game that doesn't take itself super seriously, and has no problem poking a little fun at the genre that it lives in. So I think we'll do a few more episodes of Just One Line, and see what else we can do with our new adventure. I'd really like to unlock some of the other backgrounds and races if we can stay alive long enough. So there's Just One Line for right now. We'll come back to it in the next episode, do some more questing, do some more adventuring, and see if we can do a little bit better than we did with the druids. But we're not a giant mushroom, so, that. Until then, I'm Dave. Thank you as always for joining me in the wee hours, and we'll see you next time. Anyone want to get the head out of the hot tub? Did you want to maybe pull this head out of the hot tub? That's not sanitary, guys. That is not okay. That's a health code violation in the mansion.